Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. De La Hoz. I'm the medical director at the Neomedicine Institute, where we practice procedures and interventions to help the mind, body, and soul. We really focus on longevity and pioneering techniques to help prevent disease and also prolong and add healthy years of life to all our patients.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys are in for a treat. I'm excited because I might have some eligibility left to get back on a bull, maybe even play football. Who knows? Because Dr. De La Hoz, he's going to talk stem cells. We're here in Florida where beauty, fitness, it's like almost everything, only to be beat maybe by California. I don't know who's more shallow, which state, but we're going to get the game. And, you know, as the medical director, I promise you, you're not going to probably see another podcast that gives real information with a Dr. De La Hoz. Yes, he is multi-talented, but he's going to focus on the medicine so we can get the game. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, my bro?
I'm doing great, Kellen. Thank you for the invitation. We're very excited to be here and to talk to your audience about what we're doing here at the Neomedicine Institute, which is really unique. And we hope to educate and advocate for what we're doing and also teach patients the right methods and what they can do to prevent aging and to stay healthy.
Well, please start from the beginning. How do we get here? Because I think when people hear Florida, they say, uh-oh, something local. Uh-oh, here they come with a new method. But we want people, if they do decide to get this type of procedure, to get it done at home where they can be taken care of, because a lot of people will hear this information and then try to go run to, you know, Brazil, DR, and say, can you do the same thing for me? And of course, the answer is yes, por supuesto. You know, we can do it for half the fee, but exactly. It might not be the same service.
Is it not only the same service, but safety, one, and also regulations. So here in the US, and especially at the Neomedicine Institute, we follow the FDA guidelines and regulations. So that being said, we're doing everything that is legal, everything that we should be doing in the US, and also we offer the support. A lot of patients, like you mentioned, they go to, you know, Latin America. There's a lot of places that they can do certain procedures that are similar, but at the end of the day, when they come back here, they don't have that support, and that's very important, because this is not something that you do and you just, you know, forget about. This is something that we need to keep on doing and checking and regularly calling the patient is very important for us to get all the benefits that we offer. We focus on stem cell banking and also stem cell procedures. This is, as we know, stem cells are very privileged cells. These cells they have the capacity to differentiate or become any cell in the body. And the importance is that as we get older, that capacity of those cells decreases. And also when we reach 65, there's a substantial decrease in these cells. So we're seeing that saving your cells and storing your cells, the younger, the better. Why? Because they maintain that capacity. And it's not science fiction. What I want to tell you is becoming a reality. We're going to be able to make organs from these cells in a lab and then transplant them into patients. So organ transplants from donors is going to be a thing of the past, and we're going to be able to do cartilage, tendons, ligaments, and tissues in a lab and implant them in patients. So again, that's one of the important factors or reasons why everybody should be storing their stem cells, which is what we're doing.
Now, a lot of people get worried when they say, okay, you're going to take my stem cells, you're going to bank them, but how do I know they're not going to be used for other people? I'm not going to get a DNA test. Some, you know, people will be all type of ideas saying, somebody will say I'm their father in 30 years because they now have my DNA or stem cells. Talk about that.
That is a very good question. And when we get a patient, they have to sign a contract and an agreement. And in that agreement, we specify everything. These cells are yours, and we can only bank them, and the patient determines what they do with them. We have patients, for example, that they have their cells banked already, and they might have an injury, sports injury, or they have back pain or neck pain. At that moment, the patient determines if they want to asked to release those cells, either to me as a physician or to other physicians. And these cells are only released to them. So we can tell patients that their cells are going to be safe. We have a lot of safety guidelines in place, just in case something goes wrong. We have backup tanks, we have generators, we have all these safety protocols in place to guarantee that these cells are safely stored, and they're stored cryogenically, meaning that those cells are not going to age one more day. They're stored at minus 200 degrees Celsius, which is around 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So very cold temperatures. And again, we only store them for the patients, and they decide what they can do with them or how they want to proceed.
Awesome. So they can't be used for other people, but I want, a professional athlete stem cells maybe at my older age. Is there anything in the future where if someone signs off and says, look, I'm selling you stem cells? I've seen melanin being sold on the internet. Don't ask where. I don't want to get anybody getting that knock on the door, but my mind and fingers wander. But will you maybe in the future be able to get, a professional athlete or someone who's even more physically fit than you and get their stuff? Would that even make sense in what you're doing?
There's some technology pointing to that. I mean, we always have to, the thing is that your body is always going to recognize your cells. Those are going to be the best cells that you have. So the younger you store them, the better. In the future, maybe for certain patients that have certain conditions that do not allow them to use their cells, it could be a possibility, but you have to go through all the matching donors, and especially it's very similar to the process that we do right now for organ transplants, where you have to be on a donor list and you have to go through all this testing. I think it's going to be possible. Again, there's a lot of technologies right now that are being developed, but the bottom line is that your cells are always going to be the best, and the younger you store them. A lot of people have done them for their kids, but you and me, Keenan, we didn't have that possibility. So we can do it now as an adult. And every day we're exposed to agents that damage our DNA, pollutants, radiation, carcinogens, like all these substances. So we're getting exposed every day to chemicals that can damage our DNA, and we want to protect those cells. So we need to look at it as life insurance for the future. It is estimated that 1 out of 2 adults currently are going to need a regenerative medicine or cell-based therapy in the future. So the question is not, am I going to need these cells? The question is, when am I going to need these cells? And the last thing that you want is to get it, at a certain age where you're going to use these cells, and at that moment, that therapy or that technology that is not available for you because you didn't store your cells. So we really want to educate the public about the importance of storing their cells young and having that insurance life policy there for when they need it.
Now, I'm sure insurance at this point doesn't cover this. So let the people know before they get so excited and say, oh, yes, I'm coming back, for whatever that goal is, out-of-pocket expense, how much should people budget? Because that's why people leave the country to go get work done. And not all the work is bad. I've seen people, go all around the world, but the longevity of what the follow-up, you chip a tooth, now you got to go take a flight. What insurance, do you think they'll ever cover stuff like this? And, that's a game in itself.
Right. We really hope that they do eventually. The benefits are there, and we have solid data that this is beneficial for the patients. But, let's be honest, insurances, they're not there to take care of us, for the most part. They want to make their investors happy. So a lot of times they're going to deny these type of procedures. And, only time will tell. Hopefully we do. But in the meantime, it's not really as expensive as people might think. There's a perception that stem cells are expensive. But storing your stem cells is a yearly fee of $249, and there's an initial cost to harvest those cells. There's different sources that we're using currently. One is peripheral blood, which is relatively cheaper, but it doesn't have the same amount of cells. The second one is bone marrow. We have to go in the bone marrow, and kind of like if you were giving a bone marrow transplant to a patient, a similar procedure. It's a 10-minute procedure. It has more cells that we can use in the future. And also liposuction so adipose tissue and fat is a very good source of stem cells. That usually the harvesting process is usually a couple $1,000, and then the annuity is $249. It's a small price to pay for keeping your cells young and harnessing that power that those cells have in the future. Not only for these conditions that I'm talking about, which are sports injuries for the most part, but also for degenerative conditions in general, and aging of the skin, hair loss, diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, heart disease, kidney disease. There's a lot of technology coming out in the next few years that is where we're going to be able to use these cells to treat these conditions and cure the patients. So it's really promising what we're seeing.
And how many, cells you find a young person, maybe they're, in their early 20s, healthy, whatever that means, right? Because everybody, you can look good and be toxic on the inside and right. Vice versa. But how many cells do you guys usually take in the beginning? And how many cells can someone afford to, lose? Because the next thing is cloning the cells that you give, so you never have to do it again.
And we do that. We can actually culture expand those cells. So that's also something that we can do for patients that have stored their cells and they're running out because they have been using it for different procedures. We already do it for certain patients. So we can, as you mentioned, reproduce those cells and kind of replenish what we have used. So we have an unlimited capacity to reproduce those cells and keep them young. It really depends. The number really depends on every patient, but we do testing to make sure that we have samples that are viable. So we do infectious disease, extensive testing, including infectious disease, cell count. We count for total nucleated cells. We count for certain markers that are called CD markers, which stem cells have, so that we know how much or how many cells you have. So before anything, once we get those samples, we send those samples to the third party, which is the one that does all this testing, to make sure that we have a sample that is viable and has good numbers. Before that, we do blood testing on patients, and we like to see all these biomarkers. And for the most part, we can determine if the patients are a good candidate to store their stem cells, or if they need any optimization at that point, which we sometimes do some, supplements and IV fluids and certain procedures that we can do to make those samples be more viable.
Awesome. And can you talk about some of the personal experiences from patients you've seen? Because, some people will hear this and say, oh, you're just trying to beat death and you're trying to, recreate and takes God's perfect thing and make it some type of cyborg. But can you talk about the people who've actually been suffering and they were going to live another 20, 30 years? And so these stem cells have helped them have more pleasure and less pain.
Of course. Again, there's a lot of technologies coming, and especially with diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, heart disease, there's a lot of promise in what stem cells can do. Here at the Neo Medicine, we focus mainly on sports injuries and pain management, and we're able to decrease pain in a lot of patients. So that really impacts patients' lives. If you can manage their pain, really cure the patient, induce healing and formation of tissue, healthy tissue, where they're going to see a long-term benefit, and you add good years of life. We're not trying to live forever, but we're trying to add what we call health span. So adding good years of life to anybody, that makes sense. And that's what we're trying to do. We see it a lot with patients that have some, back pain, neck pain, joint-related pain, arthritis in the knees. We're able to prolong the life of those joints and decrease the incidence or the prevalence of certain surgeries like joint replacements. So we're able to help these patients live a healthier, longer lives. And that's actually the focus of what we do here.
And the reason why most physicians go into medicine, a lot of people think, oh, everyone goes into medicine for the money. Yeah, there's easier ways to make money. Especially during those residency days where you're getting paid minimum wage. Yeah. But now with you guys also do, hair loss. do the stem cells have anything to play with that? Because I don't want to put the rumor out there, but you might have helped a former Miami Heat player get his hairline back. I don't want to say, any names or numbers because I don't want to be talked about, but did the stem cells help with the hair loss and just any of the other benefits that, people might not know of?
Yes, especially for beauty, there's a lot of benefits. So for stem cells, we can inject them and they can help regenerate and recover the loss of hair. But more importantly, there's a technology coming up, something called iPSC, and I don't want to get too technical, but we're going to be able to create hair follicles in a lab and then implant them in the patient. So these cells, again, they have tremendous capacity, these stem cells. So also for collagen production and for skin and beauty, we are using stem cells to inject them, and they help the patients maintain the formation of collagen and also the tone of the skin. So, we're using it for beauty purposes and more importantly, for healthy benefits that are, the main thing that we focus here, but we can use it for many things. And these are really privileged cells that have the capacity to do a lot of things.
Awesome. Now, if people, want to follow you and say they want to learn more, do you have a podcast, YouTube, or TikTok where you maybe show testimonials or just give new updates?
Yes. If they want to know more about what we do here, they can go to our website, which is neomedicineinstitute.com. They can also follow us on YouTube, the Neo Medicine Institute, and on Instagram, Neomed Institute. And we are constantly posting information, listing our services and everything that we can do, as well as testimonials from patients.
Okay, and I say that because some people want to, they want to follow. They say, okay, it sounds good, but if you show, athletes jumping up in their 50s and 60s and people throwing out their Viagra and everything else and saying, hey, here's a replacement, people say, oh yeah, that's what I want.
Of course. And for the public and the audience, it's very important to focus on prevention. It's easier and cheaper to treat conditions before they arise than when they arise. And I get a lot of patients that, they tell me, well, but this is expensive. And I tell them, if you think that healthcare is expensive, wait until you get sick. That's when it really gets expensive. So again, prevention is the key. We focus on longevity and anything that can help patients prevent disease in the long run. So if anybody wants to get more information, they can contact us directly and we'll be happy to provide more information and answer any questions.
And I hope you guys, really go to the YouTube, go to the website. Links will be in the description for the website because you need to get it from trained professionals. A lot of people getting information from people who don't even have a CNA degree, but somehow they're getting applause and it's like, and people are shaking their head. No, this show, you're getting it from the source, somebody with it. Credentials that when you get sick, you would run to someone like this and you won't run to those other people making claims who can, maybe inject you in their alleyway or their closet.
Yeah, like you mentioned, unfortunately, there's a lot of, bad actors like in any industry and people talking about things that are not possible. It is important that you go to somebody that is knowledgeable and an expert in what you're trying to get treated on. And one of our main objectives has always been to educate the patients and teach them about their conditions and also their options and the best options available.
And with, success, money, that's something that, from what you have chosen to do professionally, career-wise, you don't have to worry about it. You're going to be okay. As long as, everybody who follows after you doesn't try to drain you and all that. But can you talk about a community give back that with your knowledge and everything that you've done so far and the best is yet to come, a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do in the future?
Sure. Right now, we're partnering with different organizations to be able to bank stem cells and create a public registry. So the idea is to have donations of certain stem cells that we can match donors and patients that might need stem cells in the future, and also kids or infants and pediatric patients that might need these. So we're currently working on that. The idea is to do it here and also internationally. Me personally, I do missions in Africa and in different countries since I'm an anesthesiologist and a pain doctor. So a lot of times we go and we teach other providers of what we're doing here in the US. And I find that very valuable. And our focus has always been to give back to the community. So we're very happy to be involved in all these charities and organizations.
Awesome. And you said Africa, that's like for the audience, if they ding, 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 they say what country, like they're going to fly and try to get some free services, right? But what country?
Mainly Togo and Benin, those two countries, which are French-speaking countries on the west side of Africa. That's where we have focused more of our missions.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Okay. So how is your French since you've been doing those?
I can get by.
Okay. Because there is a country in Africa that speaks Spanish. So and Portuguese. I'm not going to forget about you guys, Angola.
Yeah.
So that would have been the easy one. But okay, you're always up for a challenge.
I was fortunate enough to learn French, and it really comes handy. And I love speaking the language. So it's a good opportunity to go and practice and also give back to the community. So it's a win-win.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Equatorial Guinea, if you're listening, you reach out to the website, you send your plane ticket, and mission trips, globally are needed. We need more doctors. You guys stop being TikTok stars and start being doctors. We'd have a whole new world.
Completely.
Yes. Let the people know again where to find you, and any last words so they can go explore more about this great procedure.
For sure. So you can find us at the NeoMedicine or neomedicineinstitute.com. That's our website. Also on Instagram is Neomed Institute, and our channel on YouTube is Neomedicine Institute. One last thing is we want to make sure that patients understand, and please do your research before you embark in any stem cell procedure. Make sure that you're going to an authority and somebody that knows what they're doing. And hopefully, this is a technology that takes off and we are able to expand it, and it's covered by insurances in the near future. And we're very excited to be part of this, which we believe is the future of medicine, and regenerative medicine is really going to help millions of people and revolutionize the medicine industry.
Well, this is awesome. And this is your health, you guys. I mean, you guys blew up Dr. Miami's Snapchat because he does the, lipos and everything. This too could have you still moving and grooving. So,
not only looking good, but feeling good is also very important. So, it's a combination of both.
Yes. And we know that everything that looks good, especially here in South Florida, doesn't feel good. Some of it is too hard, too firm. I don't know. I'm old and married, but from the stories that I hear, you guys might want to feel good inside and out.
Exactly. Health comes from the inside. So from the inside out. So that's very important.
Yes. Well, you guys have been blessed by the game. I want you to make sure now to do the most important thing is to share it with someone else. It will change their life. Thank you, Doc, for coming on.
Thank you so much, Keenan, and I appreciate the invitation. And thank you to all your audience. Good luck with everything.
Appreciate you.
Hi guys, I'm Kai Gabiam from the Diaspora channel, a lover of Africa. If you love Africa as well and you would love to visit one day or to relocate to Africa, there is a course out there for you. And this course is My First Trip to Africa, a course well put together by a seasoned traveler, Kellen Cash Coleman. This course is designed to prepare you to travel better, which will save you both time and money. And the great news is this course costs only $20, guys. It can't get any better. Go right now and enroll to this course at www.diversifygame.com. Don't miss out.